What's up, and welcome to the Replayer Podcast. I'm your American Pagan discount host, Erica. With me is Dan, and also joining us today is Jake Brown.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you,
What's
Erica. Up? Wonderful opening to the
thank
Replayer
you.
Podcast.
I'm so good at this.
You're killing it. So welcome to the Replayer Podcast, everybody. Pagan could not be with us this week. She was taking some time off to spend some much needed quality time with Adam, whose birthday is coming up. So happy birthday, Adam.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And filling in the pagan-shaped void is Erica.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Pagan gets that. Anyways, joining us is Jake Brown. How you doing, Jake?
I'm doing quite wonderful.
Wonderful. Why is that, Jake? Why is that?
Lack of sleep and all that stuff. Probably because I just had a little baby girl as of 2 days ago.
2 days ago. That's amazing. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
So you haven't slept in 2 days?
Oh my God. In the past 72 hours, I've probably gotten maybe 4 hours of sleep. Possibly.
4.
Yeah.
Like trying to sleep at the hospital isn't exactly the greatest thing to do. It's the moment you lay your head down, she starts crying. You're like,
Oh.
Did they give you anywhere to like lay down at all?
Yeah, they had this little like cot for you to lay down on, and I was just like, all right. And every single time I went to go lay down on it, I would lay down, shut my eyes. But when I shut my eyes, either she'd start crying, or my phone goes off, or I get a text message. I'm just like, I'm meant to die here.
I mean, at least you get to lay down, because like for me, I can't sleep if I'm not laying down. Like it's impossible, essentially. Like I can't sleep on planes. It sucks, especially for long flights. Doesn't work.
I can't sleep without drugs, so I'll just be awake forever.
Without drugs. Since birth, I've been awake.
Insomnia.
Yeah. Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Anywho, Jake is joining us this week. Not only are you a replayer, but you are also one of the new Retro Replay website contributors. And we brought you on here to talk about some of the work that you've done for the website. And so far, it's very much focused on Gears of War.
One thing.
One thing. It's very passionate about Gears of War, which is cool. Like I've read your articles, and I think that's going to tie in actually pretty awesomely to the fact that you just had your baby.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So before we get to the articles, though, before we get into those, we're going to do a couple little get to know you questions, since it's your first time on the podcast, kind of like our get to know the replayer thing. So I'll start with that. Like, when did you become a replayer?
So yeah, I caught on to I think I saw the first episode with my wife when they played Spider-Man. And because I was just scrolling through YouTube one day, and it's like it had everything I loved on the recommendations. It's like Nolan North, Troy Baker, Spider-Man, and I was like, I love all three. Awesome. So my wife and I, we watched it, and it's hilarious watching Nolan rage quit, and so just it was real fun. And it's like I didn't subscribe to it because I thought it was just a one-off thing, and it kept popping up in my recommendations and everything, and I was like, okay, I guess they're gonna stick around and keep doing this. This is awesome. So that's kind of how that came to be, and then I just kind of lurked in the shadows for quite a bit, just being a replayer and whatnot. And no, it's
all that matters, man. Awesome. As long as you're enjoying the show and just having fun. Like, not everyone is super involved in the community, and not everybody needs to be, honestly, but it's fun. Yeah. There's a lot of good people in the community, and everybody is super wonderful and supportive of each other. And it's one of the reasons we're here for this podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
And now, some people are getting that rare and awesome opportunity to help out with a website. So yeah, actually very awesome there. Next question I have for you would be, what was your introduction to gaming?
Ooh. As far as maybe earliest gaming memory, I think it was watching my father and brother play, I want to say it was Marvel War of the Gems on the SNES.
Oh, wow.
And like, and it's like, all I remember is like that title screen of, like where you're changing your character. And it reminds me so much of the X-Men game that they made for SNES as well after. I think it had to be.
Was it like the arcade one?
It was the, what was it? It was like Mutant Apocalypse or something like that. It was X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, but it played in kind of like that arcade style.
Yeah, and, like the side scroller beat 'em up.
Yeah, that, and then like Super Star Wars.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Wow. I've forgotten about some of these.
Super Star Wars, I never played that until recently.
Oh my god.
I played it on the PlayStation 4 through like PlayStation Now. I was like, I'm gonna finally play this classic game. Could not get past the first level.
It's hard, man.
It's brutally hard. I was like, holy hell.
I got all the trophies on it, and it took some work. And the sad part is the sequels, they're 10 times harder.
Oof.
And it's like I've been waiting for them to be ported, to the PS5 or PS4, and like they haven't done it, so I don't know if they are. But oh my god, like they get harder, and it's fun.
Oh
though.
Man, that's exactly why I watch people play those types of games, because it's like I want to enjoy it, but I also don't want to rage quit, so I'll watch somebody else play it, so I don't have to.
I don't want to rage. You do it.
Exactly. I'll let you rage, and I'll enjoy it. Which is why I love watching Nolan rage, because I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how I'd handle it.
That would have been me, essentially.
Yeah. Do you want me to ask the next question?
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, go ahead and try the next one, Erica.
So, speaking of gaming, we're going to continue on with that. Do you have a preferred platform that you like to play on?
I know it's a tough question.
All platforms are created equally, right?
Right. Key emphasis.
True,
key emphasis is preferred.
But if I had to choose without setting, people off, it's I like Xbox.
Whoa, there's one more.
Yeah.
Besides me.
Xbox for life. No. The way I see it is, this is my personal preference. It's like, I think Microsoft has great multiplayer games.
They do.
And like, that's what I love so much about that. Sony, they have great single player story games, and it's like, I want both.
Yeah, 100%.
And so like I own the PS5, the Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and all that. Nintendo's kind of, I guess that's below them. I like Nintendo. It's just not enough captures my interest from it.
That is seriously perfect, because it's so true, because people do the console wars, and it's like, well, when you really get down to it, there's a distinct difference of how do you like to play.
Yeah, exactly.
And even as somebody who prefers PlayStation because of single player games, I get really jealous still of my husband who plays on Xbox. And he's talking about Game Pass and all these crazy cool stuff that's happening. I'm like,
I remember talking to you about Game Pass the first time you came on the show, Erica. And you were like, what? Like, I have to go check this out.
Nuts. Oh, that's man, insane. I get so jealous, especially because Microsoft bought Bethesda.
But I also want to double down on the idea of preferred platform. It's very different from anything, because it's okay for anyone to have a preference. And I talk about this a lot. And I, like you, Jake, I have the Switch, I have the PlayStation 5, I have a PS4, a PS5, an Xbox One X, I have an Xbox Series X. Like, I get anything I can get my hands on.
Yep.
And I prefer to play on the Xbox. I prefer to play there. But I know I love Ratchet and Clank, and I love Spider-Man, and I love God of War, and I love, fill in the number of massive hits on the PlayStation. I will keep buying a PlayStation console to play those games.
Yep.
But I don't go to the PlayStation otherwise, generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But for like as all-time favorite consoles, I think I would have to probably say, the SNES with Nintendo 64 second, right there.
Oh, man, I grew up on the SNES, and I was a diehard Nintendo fan until the first time I played Resident Evil 2.
Dropped. My interest in Nintendo just like it's dropped. It's like the Game Boys. Oh my god, so good. And like the Game Boy SP was like the best thing ever, I thought. And I think my interest stopped right after there.
Yeah, I've got some.
Right as soon as they made, I think, the DS, I was like, okay, I think I'll skip on this one, but Oh, so good though.
Got a collection of a ton of the Nintendo hand consoles downstairs.
I still have all of those
little
too.
micro. Oh, they're so cute.
tiny.
Oh, I love
that being said, though, like I still say it all the time. I think the new Zelda game, Breath of the Wild, on the Switch is one of the best games ever made.
Flawless.
Like
I started it, have not beaten it, but
so good.
From what I played, very good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on the Switch. Like I still go back to my Switch pretty often. I started playing Monster Hunter Rise lately. It's probably one of the best Monster games ever made.
I'm so ready to play
it. But anyways, I know this. We have another question. I think is going to be a little silly, but I feel like we're going to get some good stuff. What do you have a favorite game? And you can go beyond just a single.
Yeah, because I feel like y'all talked about this. It might have been last week's or the week before, and you can't really just choose one game, really. So it's kind of like a top 5.
Yeah,
I guess
and
for
we're
me.
pretty
And
cool with like you can choose like a
no
top 5 or a franchise.
It's like Gears of War, obviously, whatever,
Surprise!
Yeah, Banjo-Kazooie. That was my all-time favorite for the longest time. I love Banjo-Kazooie. Then you have the usuals, Uncharted, Last of Us. Assassin's Creed as well.
Yes.
Even though like there's been a few misses there, but it's like I'm a sucker for it and I'll buy it every year. I still love the original, like 1, 2, Revelations, and 3. Yeah. I love the Desmond story arc. I don't care, don't at me. I like Desmond. I like Nolan North as Desmond. Even before I knew that was him. I thought that was such an interesting storyline, and I was like, let's scrap it.
Yeah. I mean, no long-running series is faultless either.
Yeah,
it kind of sort of comes back at the end of Valhalla.
I haven't finished Valhalla.
So good.
They get to the area at the very end, and I turn up my headset. I'm like, that's Nolan North.
That is.
I did find an audio log in the out of the Adamus parts, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's Nolan. I'm like, I almost wanted to ask Nolan. I think in one of the live chats, like, did you know you're in Valhalla? Because I didn't hear.
Did you know you did voice work for this game?
I think he did, because at the very end there's some new dialogue, so he definitely came in for those. But yeah, I don't know if he knew he did stuff for specifically Desmond.
Yeah.
Oh,
so cool. One of my favorite games.
I love Assassin's Creed, and even like the movie, it wasn't exactly the greatest movie, but like it wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't a good movie either.
That's like I would say most video games fall in that, where they're not bad, but they're not good. Yeah. And then the rest of them are all bad.
Yeah.
So that pretty much goes to,
I still have some video game movies though that I love regardless, even though they're bad.
Prince of Persia. I will fight anyone. I love Prince of Persia. That Jake Gyllenhaal. Oh my God. We watched that about a month ago, and we're like, man, we were waiting for, I think, it to come to Disney Plus for like a good year. From like when Disney Plus like launched, it was like Prince of Persia not available until like October 2020, and we're like, oh my God. Like, I know we can easily just be like, we have the DVD, let's just pop it in, but I'm gonna reach for the remote instead and just click.
Yeah.
That's like me being excited that HBO Max has Big Bang Theory on it. So I'm like, I don't have to put in the DVDs.
I didn't know they did. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's how I felt with How I Met Your Mother when they took it off Netflix. I was like, no. I was like, I have the DVD collection.
I just started my 58th watch through.
My 50th. That's like people at the office.
I fall asleep to How I Met Your Mother every single night. Every single night on Hulu.
That was me with Parks and Rec and The Office too.
Oh man, classic.
And if it's not that, and if it's my wife's choice, she loves falling asleep to Road to El Dorado, which I think is a very underrated movie. Such a good movie.
The cartoon one?
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah, that's
Miguel
a
and
great.
Tulio.
Yeah, that's a great
one.
movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in so
long. With Elton John.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dude. Oh, that man
I think
is
I have
so
the movie.
talented.
You know what else is another one-off, like random side tangent of a underrated animated movie that came out around the same time? Was an animated Sinbad movie that had Brad Pitt in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was super good.
I remember. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I know which.
I think it was Brad Pitt and Catherine Zeta-Jones are the lead voices in the movie.
Kansas City Jones. Wow, that's awesome. So, what are you playing now? Like, what's your go-to?
Right now I'm playing Father.
I'm playing
well, before
I'm playing Baby Daddy Simulator.
That was the best answer.
I'm pretty sure that's actually a game.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Is that a new VR game?
Probably. Yeah.
It's on the Quest. So I still dabble in Gears 5 with the content that comes out. I actually haven't beaten Gears Tactics because I'm not too much of a fan of like, the over-the-top RTS type style. But I'm like, I love the story and like lore of the universe. So I'm like, I got to play it. I got to beat it. So I'm almost done that. Just coming off of Valhalla, which was so good.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Amazing. Oof. And
how many hours have either of you put into Valhalla at this point?
117.
Yeah, somewhere around there. All I have to do now is collectibles all over the map. And I got a good majority of it.
Did you get Thor's outfit and Mjolnir? Yes. Oh, that was the first thing I did. I was so excited.
And I had every intention of beating that game, and then I got the PS5 with Demon's Souls, and then I said, I'm going to beat Demon's Souls.
Speaking of hours in the game, a correction to my to last episode, how many hours I played Animal Crossing. It's like 570 hours.
Jesus. So it was 5 times what you originally said.
Because typically my average amount of hours that I play in like a big game like that is about 100 to 120. And then I looked the other day because I had turned it on because I was going to add Pagan as a friend. I looked at how many hours. I was like,
oh
no. No, but with the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it was so weird for me because I got it. That was the first game I got for the Series X. And
same.
I don't know if you had the same type of experience I did. Like I started the game, I put my first 15-20 hours in. I'm like, I love this game. This game is so amazing. And then like the next 40 hours, I was just like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. And it's like I'm still playing it. My interest is I'm losing it.
That's the main reason I haven't finished the game yet.
Skyrocketed back up toward the end.
Yeah.
I did not feel that at all. To me, it was just always up.
Because me, like there's go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. You were probably saying the same thing.
It was like I think my biggest issue is like because there's so many places to go.
Yeah,
there's so many of these different stories and you meet all these different people and everything. And I'm like, you go into like one town and you meet, this person, and then not exactly like spoilers or anything, but just an example, like somebody you would meet at like the beginning of the game, you won't see till 40 hours later, gameplay wise. Yeah. And they're like, oh no, he died. Like, who was he again?
Who?
Like, I feel like I'm supposed to care.
I feel like I got to that point in that game too, because I remember going back to like the village and somebody was dead and they were like crying about this person that they just buried. And I was like, who was that? Like, okay,
I guess I'll find out later.
But I had that same problem with Valhalla where it's like I kind of hit that lull in the middle, and I heard a lot of other reviewers saying the same thing.
But then it peaks and it just so good.
I think
so good.
The biggest reason for that is the whole like point leveling system, because you hit a point where you're like, I want to continue the story, but I can't because I need to be within a certain limit to be able to succeed. And so you're like, what do I do in the meantime? So then you go and just collect stuff and kill people.
Kill people.
And that's kind of where my friend actually is at right now. Is she's like, I am really frustrated. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. So I was like, well, I'll come over to your house. And I would.
I do think they did better with the leveling in that game than in Odyssey. Like, I feel like you don't spend as much time doing that of, I gotta level up 7 levels now.
Oh man, I loved Odyssey. I was really happy when they brought back. So like in Odyssey, you could change your armor to look however you wanted. And I was really upset it wasn't like that in Valhalla, because I was like, I want to look a certain way. I like these certain styles. And then they finally brought it back, and like, it wasn't this most recent update, but an update before. And they're letting us do that. And I like almost cried of happiness because fashion is endgame.
You're right. That's what it all is. And like any game, especially with customizable looks like that, it's all about that new armor or that visual. Like you want, like, I look like I'm such a badass now. Like, especially when you've already like beaten the game and now you're just crushing anything that's left.
Oh, it's great. It's a good feeling.
Odyssey is another game that I actually bought the like complete edition about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and it was on sale for like $30, and I
What?
got Assassin's Creed 3 for free with it.
Yeah,
The
Oh,
the
remaster.
remasters.
I
I
have
love that
put
game.
maybe 10 hours into Odyssey, and I was like, this game's amazing, but it's too fucking long.
it is really long.
It is.
Yeah, it's very long.
Long
That was
games
good, though.
are kind of the bane of my existence right now, even though there's nothing wrong with a long game. I have
Oh, yeah.
over 100 hours in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but yet I
Mhm.
complain that Assassin's Creed is too long.
Yeah, I finished Assassin's Creed. I'm still doing the collecting stuff, but I came off like a gamer depression after
Mhm.
finishing the main story. So I'm like, I don't know what to do
Yeah.
now. Nothing interests me
That's
anymore.
how you feel. It's like you rush. Like that's how I am when a new game comes out. It's like I gotta beat it,
Yeah.
gotta beat it, gotta beat it, gotta beat it. I beat it. Oh no, I beat it.
Now what?
Oh, no.
Now we wait for Mass Effect to come out May
Oh.
14th.
Yes.
I took the
Mhm.
day off of work to play.
Me and Brandy have never played Mass Effect, and we
Me
started
neither.
playing Mass Effect 1 a few months ago, and we were like, we're really digging this. We put maybe 20 or 30 hours into it, and our friend was like, you should just stop what you're doing and wait for the collection to come out. And I was
Mhm.
like, fair, okay, let's do that, especially because Brandy was having trouble with the Mako controls. So it was like,
Yeah.
I told Brandy the other day, I was like, what we should do now is you take like a week off of work, and we just crush Mass Effect
Yes.
all week long. And she was like,
Oh,
I'm down.
look at
Like,
those
let's do it.
relationship goals.
Let's do
My
it.
I'm like, let's do a
goodness.
staycation where we just crush games.
Well,
Because
now
her
I
and I
Mako
are,
request more days off.
we're
Yeah,
working our way
that's what I'm working
through
on.
Gears of War and Halo as well. So
Ooh.
like, we need to do that too.
I
Yeah.
actually had a question about Gears of War because I've never actually played it.
Mhm.
So in different games, like I really love Destiny. And so to get into the lore of Destiny, sometimes you have to go to like different sources or you have to read a bunch of stuff. How is
Mhm.
lore presented in Gears of War?
I mean, I think what you get from the game, like it's great. I mean, like it tells its own story, but like you miss so much if you read the novels.
Mm.
I think there's maybe like 8 of them out now. I think there's a new one in September coming
I
out as
heard
well.
about them. Yeah.
Wow.
And
I
they
didn't
add
realize there was that many.
oh my gosh.
I've
Because
read
yeah,
a
most
few
of
of the Halo books, but
oh yeah, I love Halo, but I can't. too many books.
I don't have patience for
no.
books.
It's like the story presented. It's nice because it's like with the first game, you kind of have like that dark horror type vibe. You're like, I don't know what
Yeah.
these monster things are, and it's like I understand people's complaints. As the story goes, it's like, oh, you kind of moved away from your horror roots and everything, but it's also like you've also been playing this game. You're not going to experience the same thing again.
Yeah.
But the story is just so amazing. Like the lore, it's like through collectibles and like scenery and everything. There's so much to learn, and it's like there's things I'm still.
If I could say anything to someone who's never experienced anything from Gears of War before, the one thing that I always try to tell people that to me it resonates so deeply with me for Gears of War is go and find the original launch trailer for Gears of War 1.
Oh my god.
That first launch trailer is so heart-wrenching. And when you first see it, you're like, this looks terrifying and bleak,
the Mad World
but
trailer.
Beautiful. Exactly. Like I'm getting
Yes.
goosebumps just thinking about it right now. Like, oh my god. Anyone who's looked at Gears of War and just thought that's just another dumb Xbox shooter, you're not seeing it for what it is.
Well, and I was looking into playing it because like you guys have been talking about it. So I looked up to play on PlayStation. And in 2020,
You
they
can play
said
it
that
there.
Gears of 5 is not coming to PlayStation. I was like, well, we have to borrow my husband's Xbox now.
Gears of War
It's on
exclusively on
PC.
PlayStation.
I actually, funny enough, I've worked at GameStop for a good number of years, and I used to get people coming in looking for Gears of War, and I'd be like, "Cool, it's right over here," and point at the Xbox wall, and then they go, "Where's the PlayStation one?" And I'm like, "It didn't come out on PlayStation." They go, "Why not?" I'm like, "Cause it's made by Microsoft. It's a Microsoft Studios game. When's it come into PlayStation?" Never.
Well, and it's like I knew that, but I still looked it up anyways because you never know.
You never
but
know.
I'm like, I'm just gonna try.
And it's
I
like,
mean,
I would be happy if it would. I would be happy. Like I'm not like I'm not a fanboy
Honestly,
completely. Like this is
with
our game. Like if they split it up, that's awesome. I have people on PlayStation who I would love to play that with for the first time.
Well, the way Microsoft is going, maybe it will. You know, Microsoft's all
never
about
know.
play together, play where you want, play everything. And so
That's
Who
why I
knows?
do some stuff on PC because I love the stuff that Microsoft does. I'm like, well, if I can play it on my PC, I'll play
I
it.
play a lot of games that are coming out for both PC and Xbox with friends on across cross-platform between PC and Xbox. So like we play like Sea of Thieves cross-platform, and we're talking about like
Yeah.
State of Decay cross-platform, or what else? There was something else recently we were looking at. I think Outriders being cross everything is my favorite thing now.
I downloaded it, haven't got to play it yet.
It's Gears of War, but with Destiny.
And that's what I heard. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna download it. And it's sad. It's like it's the same thing with I think when I heard a few years back when what was the game? The Order. When the Order came out, PlayStation, a few years back, they're like, it's like Gears of War, Sony's version of Gears of War. And it's sad. It's like I like the Order. Like
I have that, but I haven't played it yet.
And it's like I understand its flaws. It is too linear and everything, but I think if they ever did make a sequel to that, they have enough lore and everything to where it's interesting enough.
I think the downside there is knowing how hard Sony leans into the big profitable franchises.
Yeah.
So a game like The Order is never going to get another chance. And it's sad now knowing that Days Gone 2 hasn't been greenlit because they're like, it just wasn't enough. And we don't want 2 zombie shooters on our platform. So we're sticking with the one that made millions and billions of dollars instead of a second
Gears of
Days
War
Gone.
Ultimate Edition on PC is $19.
Yep.
Do it, or Game Pass.
If you get Game Pass, you can play it on Game Pass.
I'm signing up for Game Pass.
Game Pass PC.
I'm signing up for Game Pass right now.
Just do it. And then I think you can also play it on the
right now.
The xCloud.
Right now.
Yeah,
well.
actually, I just got into the xCloud iOS beta, and I loaded up Halo, and I was playing Halo on my phone last night. It wasn't great, but still, it's in beta. So
I think certain games will work better.
An online multiplayer game, I expected to be kind of rough. I played Destroy All Humans, and that was much better. Like, it was much smoother, and it played pretty well. The only issue I had was, like, I couldn't read the text. I was, like, staring at my phone.
That's so cool that you got into that. I saw you tweeted
I was so
about
happy.
it. I was like, whoa.
I have done a little bit of the streaming. Like, you can stream directly from your console to your phone. But the xCloud is so cool. So every Game Pass game, you stream to your phone without a console.
It's so good.
That's crazy.
Like, it's incredible.
I'll be out there on my lunch break in my car, just load up Gears of War or Halo.
I think it's funny
in my downloads queue.
Oh, here it goes. Gears of War time.
I'm so excited. I just have a hard time. So I have a hard time playing like keyboard because I have nerve damage in 2 of my fingers.
You can play controller.
Exactly. And so I was always concerned. That was one of my questions was like, how does it play with a controller? Like, is it finicky?
Do you have an Xbox controller?
I do. I have an extra one.
Just sync it up.
Cool.
I've never played it on mouse and keyboard. So I am completely opposite. So I think it's great on controller.
I play the Sea of Thieves on PC as well, and I just sync up my Xbox controller with it and play it that way.
That's a great idea. My brother just got that, and so I'm excited to play it with him.
Sea of Thieves has gotten really good for anyone who hasn't played it. Like, it started off kind of rough, but holy crap, is it good now?
Yeah, I got into it when it was good.
I have such a love-hate relationship with that game. I bought it. I think it was before Game Pass was even a thing when it first came out.
I bought it too.
I was down day one when I saw the trailer. I was like, I'm buying this game. And like I pre-ordered it digitally and everything, and it came out release day, and like none of my friends bought it.
Yep.
Nobody bought it. And I'm just sitting here. I'm like,
were you the other lone ship sailing around the ocean with me?
Yes, that was me. And I'm just sitting there, playing Pirates of the Caribbean music in the background, like I'm a pirate, and, and just sitting there, little accordion playing, and I'm like, this is boring. And I was like, and like I asked all my friends, I thought you were getting this game. I thought you were getting it. No, we're gonna wait. And then so I stopped, uninstalled it, didn't go back to it, and then Game Pass came out. And then it just blew up. Everybody's like, hey, Jake, you should get Sea of Thieves and play it with me. I'm like, where were you?
Yeah?
A few months back when I paid $60 for it.
Do you have a pet now? Did you get a pet?
I did.
I have 2 pets in Sea of Thieves now.
Yes.
I have a lava kitty, and I have an ice dog.
I really want to get the kitty. I have a parrot right now, but he's like a bright blue color, and I named him Miata. Because he looks like a blue Miata. Man, that's a good game.
It's really fun. Well, that tangent lasted a lot longer than we expected. So,
Right.
no good segue to get into. I mean, we were talking about Gears of War, so let's jump
Mhm.
into your experience with being a contributor, Jake. And
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. Let's see. Like, so you've written 2 articles so far. They're both pretty personal to you, I would
Mhm.
say. So that's one of the things I wanted to get into. But before that, um, I wanted to see if you can kind of talk a little bit about like your experience becoming a contributor and how that felt and how that went for you, especially for anyone else who might be
Yeah.
interested.
So like I think y'all did the podcast maybe like a month or 2 ago, and it's when you had Brandy, Steph, and Drew on, I think.
Yeah, we had the whole
And
set up
That was
there.
so cool.
yeah, and y'all talked about it, and I'm sitting over here in my chair,
Like, oh, you
just
listen to
killing
our
time,
podcast? I'm not
Yeah,
as cute as
just
Pagan, so
sitting over here. I'm bored.
Erica.
It's 3 a.m. I should probably be in bed. I'm gonna just linger on my phone, and I started listening to it, and no, and I'm like, it sounds like such a cool idea, and I was like, I have a love for Gears of War, and like among other things, because like I don't plan on just Gears of War. I know there's only so much you can probably do, um, but it's like I thought it was such a cool opportunity to be able to contribute to Retro Replay, to where it adds kind of more, like it kind of has that family vibe to it. Like we watch this channel, and it's not, when you think of it, you don't think just, oh, this is just Nolan doing his thing. It's so much that the fans interact and are a part of it. That's what I love about
I feel like I need to do the Pagan thing again.
it. And so like right after that, I was like, I talked to my wife, and I was like, I would love to do something. I'm like, I'm a terrible writer, I think. I was like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? I was like, let me just put myself out there. And she's like, yeah, go ahead and do it. And I'm like, the worst I can say is, no, this is garbage. You're terrible. You're banned from being a replayer for life.
Oh no.
Okay.
I mean, worst case scenario, sure.
Worst case scenario for you.
It's like you get a letter in the mail. You've been banned from watching.
Cease and desist.
A physical letter in the mail comes. It's like,
please
thank
turn
you for
in
your
all
interest,
merch.
but
It's signed by Nolan North, and you're like, look what I got.
I got his autograph.
That was the best outcome.
No, yeah. So yeah, I did that.
I have a question though. Is
Yes.
Before that, did you have any ambitions as to being like a writer of any kind in any form?
No, honestly, because like I think I'm just kind of at the point. I'm like I've never been a person to really know what they wanted to do in life. Like everybody has a plan in middle school and high school. Oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a fireman or whatever. And I'm just like, I want to be alive. Like,
Yeah.
Goals are pretty simple. And so I'm like, I like gaming. And I was like, it's something. It's something to try out. So I was like, we'll see.
I haven't read the Tears of War yet, but I had been reading the Gears for years. So I thought that was just the greatest title. And you write with such conviction and like emotion. I was like,
yeah,
I really want to play this game, and I'm sitting here like, this sounds really fun.
It's so fun, but
it's sad.
It's so sad, but I want to be a part of it.
I feel like I might hype it up too much to where like this is nothing like what I read.
I'll go in with the lowest of expectations. Yeah. After reading the highest of expectations.
Yeah. I mean, that's like I said, watch that Gears 1 trailer.
Okay.
And you'll be like, okay, you'll be primed.
Gears of 1 trailer. Okay, I've got it pulled up for later.
Yeah, Gears of War 1, Mad World, because it's set to the Mad World song.
So good.
There it is.
Okay. Their trailers,
so good.
And I think Assassin's Creed's trailers are the most well done trailers I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
To this day, I still think my favorite trailer of all time is Assassin's Creed Revelations.
That's a really good one.
I don't remember that one.
Oh my god.
That is a really good trailer. Actually, I had recently done it with some people before. Like we were trying to do like a trailer war. Like what's the best trailer ever made? And that was in the running. I forgot what like I had like Hellblade 2 in there because I think the Hellblade 2 trailer is just absolutely stunning. Oh, I get goosebumps every time I watch that trailer. Anyways, the Tears of War article is definitely one I'd wanted to go into a little bit if you want to
Okay.
discuss that one, especially because it
Sure.
pertains to where you're at right now.
Yeah.
And it's a great story, so I'd love for you to give us the Cliff Notes version of that article, so people still have to go to the read it after this.
Oh man, it's sad because it's like I can talk about this for hours and still
we
not
will.
be done. Yeah, no, you all have lives. I want y'all to do your thing. No, like it's become such a like big part of my life, and it's like if you read the article, like I meet so many different friends through just playing that game. Like one of my best friends I met in high school, like it says there in the article, like we're just in math class and I'm a few rows over from him, class is almost over, everybody's just doing what they're doing, talking about TV games, whatever. And he sits there, I'm talking to somebody about Gears, and I think Gears 2 was out at the time. And my buddy, he looked over and he's just like, hey, he's like, you talking about Gears 2? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I love that game. I play it all the time. And I was like, oh, did we just become best friends? He's like, yo. And
that's all it takes.
And like that friendship was formed. And it's like so many things like I think about now. It's like if something didn't happen the exact way it happened, you wouldn't be where you are today.
Right.
And it's like because I met him playing a game that my older brother and I picked up at GameStop just because it was a co-op game back when we first got our Xbox. It's like nothing would have happened. It's like my friend who I met through that game, he introduced me to my wife right after I graduated. We graduated high school, and then maybe about a week after, we were playing around on the Forge mode on Halo Reach. And my buddy used to play Halo 2 with my wife on the original Xbox. And that was back when they were in like middle school. And like they've never met. Because like at the time, like I'm living in St. Augustine, me and my buddy, and my wife was living down in Miami. And which just thank God it's that close. So yeah, she came in, she just graduated as well. She came in to our party and was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And everything, and caught up. And I was just kind of lingering in the party. And, I'm like, oh, I'm shy. It's a girl. And I was like, no, but like, and she kept, coming back. We were playing Halo. We loved playing Forge, and we loved playing Left 4 Dead. And it got to the point to where like she would join my party when my buddy would leave, and we would kind of spend more time hanging out together. And we started playing Gears of War, and because she never played it, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm open for it. And so we played that, and we would just spend hours upon hours just playing like the horde mode and everything, mindlessly shooting things, and it's just it was great. And
it's such a sweet story.
This is such a love story.
It's such a long story.
Gamer's love story.
It's like I need the sequel to How I Met Your Mother. It's just going to be How I Met Your Mother
through Gears of War.
It's such a long story, but like I guess long story short, so like we played that game a lot, and we ended up meeting kind of in the middle at a convention in Orlando, MegaCon. We met there because she was going with her friends, and she was like, oh, I'm going to this convention, we could finally probably see each other. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And so we went, and it's like fell in love, and one thing led to another. I moved down to Miami for quite a few years, and we moved back here to St. Augustine back in 2018, and been married for just hit 2 years on April 13th.
Oh,
and then now we have our own little baby girl, and this life is perfect. And it's like I think it's like if it wasn't for that game, being in the right place at the right time, and all the different friendships and relationships it brought, I wouldn't be here, with a family.
It's so awesome.
It's so cool, like not only having read the story, but like hearing it from the writer. It's just so cool.
And like, and there's so much more that it's like, it's
Yeah.
like I said, I can
a
talk
lot more
for
to write
hours
then.
about it. And it's like, you know, other than just her, it's like I've met so many of my close friends now, because it's like I don't keep a lot of friends. Like when I graduated high school, I only had maybe 2 people to this day I still talk to from high school. And it's like I still have those 2 I talk to. And like when I was down living in Miami, you know, playing Gears, you know, with them, it's like I've developed such a good friendship that's lasted, you know, that will last a lifetime. And I don't know, it's just,
I have a lot of close friends that I've made through gaming in similar ways, and not quite as much of a love story in that sense, but still, like the experiences I've had playing games online with people like that is, it's just, especially, you know, for me it was Gears and it was Halo, because I did a lot of that while I was in the military, and I actually moved out to California for 4 years, and that's how I stayed in touch with a lot of my friends from back in New York. And I made a lot of new friends through Gears and Halo and a lot of the other games that I played online with my friends, and I'm still friends with a lot of those people, and we still play together. And then I made new friends when I started working at GameStop, who now none of us are at GameStop anymore, but we still game together in a lot of the games that we played, you know, ages ago together. Oh man, like I can think of all the great co-op games that I played through with friends, like Resident Evil 5 and Lost Planet 2, all of the Gears games. You know, each time one of them came out, I got the Gears of War Special Edition Xbox. Oh, it was so good, and I don't have it anymore because I traded in for the Halo 4 Xbox, which I'm regretting, but you know,
so
money money is not, I wish I kept it, but
it's fun like looking back and seeing like when everything turned upside down in a good way that like creates this ripple effect. Like if I hadn't, so like I was a gamer that kind of to myself, I didn't really have any friends to play with for a while. And then there's this one time at church, I had mentioned, I'm a gamer, so you won't see me outside very much. And this girl happened to hear it. She comes over and she's like, have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons? I was like, no, I'm not that kind of a gamer. And then she's like, here, I'll help you. I'll teach you how to play, because she was a professional dungeon master. And I was like, that's cool. So she taught me how to play. And because of the 2 other girls that I met doing that, one of the girls, Tori, who is now, she's part of Level 1 Geek, which is where I play a lot of stuff. She had some friends who were in a podcast called Cutscenes and Cupcakes, where they review games and rate them by delicious pastries. And they invited me to be on a panel at FanX, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, yes, please.
Twist my arm, don't.
Yeah, and so because of that one thing that I had mentioned, and she pushed me to start playing this, I met Tori, who then introduced me to those 3, Marley, Lindsay, and Stephanie. They've become my best friends over the past 2 years. We constantly play video games together, and I'm like, this is like the greatest thing ever. I have friends to play video games with. It's incredible to see how like gaming brings together so many people from like the craziest circumstances.
Yeah.
And it turns their life into the better. It's so great. I love it.
It's awesome. Yeah. So like just a little side note, it's like, and it's also touched on a little bit in the article as well. It's like all my buddies and friends that I've had through playing that game throughout the years, like most of them were like at my wedding as my groomsmen and everything. And my wife and I, we had 2 cakes. We had our regular cake, and then we had a groomsman cake. And my wife and I, you know, we got to cut the groomsman cake with the Gears of War Retro Lancer.
So cool.
It's like instead of the chainsaw, it's got the bayonet at the end, and
that's
cut
awesome.
it and everything. It was such a fun time.
That's so freaking cool.
It's on a slightly sadder note on my end, a lot of my gaming circles have kind of dwindled down to like the bare bones, especially because a lot of friends from the past have just moved on with their lives, or just you know, they become adults, and then things, you know, go in. Like one of the other friends I made that I used to play Gears with all the time, he eventually became a cop, and then like I see him online once in a while, but he's not nearly as, you know, dedicated as he once used to be.
It's like the meme. It's like, all right, well, I'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye. Last online 10 years ago.
Oh Oh,
Yeah.
I hate that meme. Makes me cry every time. Oh my gosh. It's so sad.
Well, we all have those.
Yeah. It's funny though, like one of my best friends from high school that I always played Halo and Gears with, we still at this point kind of go months without really talking. And then it'll be like, hey, you want to play some Halo?
Mhm.
Yeah, why not? And we'll jump in and play Halo for a couple hours, and then we'll go months without talking again.
Mhm.
But then, like the other day, well, not the other day, it was like 2 weeks ago when Resident Evil had that new showcase,
Mhm.
Oh,
and they were
yeah.
showing off all this new stuff for Resident Evil, and immediately me and him are texting each other, like, "Oh, dude, they're adding mercenaries. Mercenaries coming back. Ha ha ha!" You know, and it was like we hadn't skipped a beat.
Mhm.
That's so cool.
In
love
a
that.
similar sort of thing, before jumping into the retro replay episode, there was one thing about Gears that I
Mhm.
wanted to say just to say it, and that's seriously 2.0. And seriously,
Seriously,
Eric is
3.0.
not gonna get this. I don't know.
Oh my
No.
So basically, Gears of War 2, and Gears of War 3 had these ridiculous achievements. I forget what one was, but seriously, 2.0 was get 100,000 kills over
Mm.
the course of the game,
Mhm.
and then seriously, 3 was it 1,000,000?
It was like a whole nother achievement in itself.
Yeah.
I felt like one achievement had like 64 in itself. So it was there were medals introduced into that game, and it was like collect all 64 medals, which they had tiers.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to get it to the highest tier, all 64 medals, and it's like win 3,000 matches on this game mode, win 3,000 matches on this game mode, revive 25,000 teammates, beat the campaign on insane. Whatever you can think of that's just stupidly hard. Yeah, it's that. And so,
so I just want to do a quick shout out to those insane achievements.
And I got all of those, unfortunately. It took me
congrats
for the third one, because I still think that's the hardest one to this day, just the most time consuming. It took me 6 years by the time I finally got it.
Oof.
Hey, but you did it.
Oh my god. And
Yeah,
I had to. I was committed. I was like, I wasted 6 years of my life for this game. If
I didn't waste anything.
If I don't get this little notification that pops up, it goes blink. Then my life is.
I cannot die happy.
Yeah.
And then once you get it, you're like, okay, what next? But luckily, I got it. I think it was maybe about a month or two before Gears 4 came out. It was either Gears 4 or when Ultimate Edition came out. The remake of the first one. It was one of those.
The remake came out in 2015.
So,
and then Gears 3 came out in 2012, I believe.
2011.
Was it 11?
September 20th, 2011. Yeah, I remember that day very well.
I was at a midnight launch party at GameStop with my Lancer, having people take pictures with it. Yeah, so
lining up for GameStop. I think that's so different now. I don't think that's as big. Well,
I
know because of COVID, but I think before COVID, I think it was dying down with the whole digital age now.
Yeah,
to where you don't see as much of a line and stuff for games like Call of Duty and Halo, and whatnot.
Alrighty, but I did want to get us moving on to the episode of Retro Replay this week, mostly because, well, two things. They played Portal 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And again, another co-op game, a great co-op game that deserves your attention if you've never played that game. It's one of the best puzzlers out there. It's one of the best co-op experiences out there.
Allison was a fantastic guest. Oh my gosh.
It's just the best co-op game. So it's the game that I play, like, if I have a day to kill with a friend, you can play through, what?
You're gonna make me play with.
Of course I'm gonna make you play with me!
Yes, always happy to see Allison.
Love her.
I know, Jake, you didn't get a chance to catch that episode.
No, unfortunately.
You will eventually.
I will.
Eventually.
I'll probably do it at some point today.
You will get the glory of watching Allison guide Nolan through Portal 2, which was great, especially because they're so hyper-focused. It's not as, like, laugh funny as when John's on, but it's also entertaining because they're so laser-focused on what they're doing, and Nolan gets really into it. So that's always fun. And then, of course, there's the retro feud featuring myself.
It was all right.
What is that?
It's a bag of salt.
A bag of salt?
And Mr. Josh the Bogun Neff, he'll get that.
Dude, that was awesome.
When I watched the edit and the way they filmed it and cut it back, it was like, not gonna toot my own horn, but I actually think that was one of the better retro feuds. Probably more Josh's doing.
Twins, what are you pulling up? That's starting to... Wow.
I got my own confetti.
But still, it was, I think between Allison and the team option, like it came out really fun. I think they did a good job.
I thought that was really cool. And I had been curious because like had you met Nolan before?
Only through the digital experiences I've had with Nolan over the course of Retro Replay.
Which makes sense. Okay, because like I keep wondering, like, if somebody's going on for the first time and they meet Nolan, do they have to like give that person a hot minute to like calm, like just like if they had asked me to do it and I was on it, it'd be like I would just like scream a second, just be like, hold on, just a second, and I'd just sit there for a second, just being like,
choke.
Okay, we can move on now, like. So that's good. You've had experiences before with him, so you didn't have to like take a minute to like calm down.
Well, my first time with Nolan was actually that the multiplayer, the Uncharted multiplayer we did last year. That was the first time I met Nolan.
That's right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgotten that you were in that.
Mm-hmm.
That was so much fun to watch. That was before I kind of.
And if I was nervous during that filming, what made me not nervous and have a great time was when I started doing my little Arnold voice, and then he started doing it too, and I'm like, oh my god,
no, get down.
I'm happy now.
I felt that.
Yeah, I was like, get down, do it now, and then he immediately started going off of it.
Oh man, that is so cool.
Yeah,
having him play off of your comedy.
Great experience. Yeah, that was it right there for me.
That's fantastic.
Having Nolan playing off of my shenanigans.
Achievement unlocked.
Oh yeah. So what I wanted to talk about, because one thing, I mean, Jake didn't watch the episode, but I'm more interested in Portal 2, how great of a game that was. And we've already been talking about co-op games and multiplayer experiences. So I wanted to go a little bit more into, like, have either of you played Portal 2? Erica, you seem pretty...
I've watched other people play it. I haven't played it personally, which I want to.
Yeah, I kind of I'm kind of in the same boat there. Like I've seen people play it. I've never gotten the chance to. I think my wife's tried it a little bit, and like I know she knows a little bit more about it than I do. Like she'll make a reference or something, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking
about. Like the cake
is
a lie.
Yeah. She's like, it's from Portal.
I do know that.
I thought that's just everything. I thought that's just what people say nowadays. You know, the new meme.
Portal's got some of the best writing in any video game ever. It's so good.
Yeah, I think I watched Jacksepticeye play it.
I mean, it's on PC and it's on Xbox, so
yeah,
you've got options. The thing I wanted to go off of that though was we're talking about like back in like the 360 days, there was a massive surge of like couch co-op games, and I think a big part of that, like Microsoft had an initiative of like every game has to have co-op, every game has to have multiplayer, and I feel like now we have less of that. And I'm trying to think if you guys, do you have any like favorite co-op experience? And obviously, Jake, you have very fond memories of like Gears of War and Horde mode. But is there anything else outside of that?
I'm gonna be really sad and say that I didn't have many gaming friends growing up. And I really didn't get to play any. I really became more of a gamer when I moved out of my parents' house. But yeah, I didn't really have the chance to play many couch co-ops.
So like I know like a personal favorite for me, my wife, and one of my other buddies is we would play Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. And like you can just pick that up and go. And it's such just a fun game. And when we would first play it, we would just get so caught up into it. Like my wife and my friend, like they'll be talking, whatever, laughing, having a good time, doing whatever. And then you would have a special infected like jump out of nowhere. And of course it's always me. Like I'm always the one who gets hit.
Sure.
And if you never played the game, it's like, they jump on you or they attack you or whatever. And you can't free yourself. You have to have somebody else get them off of you. And so I'm over here. I'm like, guys, they're on me. Guys, hello, guys, come on, I'm dying.
Totally dying.
Guys. And just, I don't know how many games I played to where they're just like, Jake, what happened? I was dying. I was screaming for my life. I don't understand. Like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we didn't hear you. Okay.
Oh yeah,
right.
we didn't
We're
hear
on
you.
mute the whole time.
No. So from that point on, like to this day, we can't play that game because now I have a famous screen for it. So whenever I would get jumped from that point on, like I would just do a loud, high pitched scream into my mic. I'll just start screaming like, ah! I would just do it as loud as I can, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, shut up! Stop screaming! We hear you."
Well, I'm dying.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, okay. See, now you know I'm in trouble." Okay.
If you want to, I'm gonna have to send you guys a link after this. You need to watch a video that I edited of playing Left 4 Dead 2 with some of our friends. There's some good shit in there. I'll show you guys afterwards.
Does Dead by Daylight count?
I mean,
I'm trying to think of anything I've played
with friends.
With other people, but I guess Dead by Daylight is probably the only.
I mean, you get to play tabletop games with friends, and that's
true.
A bit of a more intimate experience, I would say, if you're not doing it shoulder to shoulder with somebody.
That's true. But yeah, I love Dead by Daylight, so I'll make that count so it doesn't seem like I'm so sad. I played that a lot with the cutscenes and cupcake scrolls. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, that could be fun. I could see that, especially if you're all like running away from the killer, screaming your heads off or something.
I am a really good killer.
Oh, perfect. And you're just like,
I'm a real good killer. It's terrifying.
I know. I think 2 other really good games I love playing co-op with is Donkey Kong Country, the series.
Nice.
Me and one of my oldest friends, like we would just sit there and we would go
one
through
of
all
my
of them
favorite Super Nintendo games ever.
Oh, that, and then growing up playing, it was Spider-Man and Venom. Spider-Man and Venom. It was Separation Anxiety, I think, for the SNES. And that one was so good. And it was just one of those beat 'em up games. And just the memories you have from playing that, because it's like at that point you just lose interest of everything that's around you, and you literally can just talk about anything. And
yeah, for me, I played a lot of like the old Ninja Turtles games.
Oh
like that.
yes,
like the side-scrolling beat 'em ups. I'm really excited for the new Shredder's Revenge Turtles game. Like, oh, it's so good.
I have not seen that. I need to look
they
that up.
just announced it's a new but retro style Ninja Turtles game.
Awesome.
So does that mean Retro Replay's gonna play it?
They could.
Stay tuned.
Wink,
hey,
wink,
Drew.
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 Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
You should maybe bring Nathan Fillion along to play that. Oh shoot! Sorry, I hit my mic.
You just want Nathan Fillion.
I do. He's one of my favorite actors.
Oh my God,
he's got to be in the docket.
It's sad. Like for him, I have a love-hate relationship as well. It's sad. It's like I like him, but I think the only reason I don't is because I'm such a fan of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, and he plays Captain Hammer. And I'm just
okay.
He's a massive douche.
Okay, that makes more sense. I thought you were gonna come at him as a person, and I was gonna be like, I will fight you.
And so every time I see him in something, I just go, Captain Hammer. No, that would be awesome.
Well, that just about wraps us up. We're out of time today, guys. So before we go, I just want to give everyone a chance to do a quick little shout out where they can find you on the Twitters. So if you want to let us know, Jake.
You can find me on the Twitters talking about gears and whatnot, and baby pictures and stuff at Jake Steele 44. And yeah, that's
Is there going to be pictures of your baby dressed as a COG?
Oh my God. So what I want to do, I have COG tags that I've bought for myself and I bought for my wife when we first got together. And we've always had a plan to kind of like engrave them with our names and the date. We started dating at our anniversary or whatever. And I want to make her a little pair as well. And I think that'll be like the coolest little thing. But yeah,
it'd be great.
Geeking out.
I'll be there for it. Erica?
That's so cute. So you can find me anywhere under Ondayn, AUNDAYN, or as Nolan likes to pronounce it, Ondayn. And you can find all my stuff linked there.
Yep. And then, of course, I am Stark Evash on Twitter and Stark Evil Vash anywhere else you might find me. And then just some closing out notes here. If you guys have any questions regarding Retro Replay and memberships, you can shoot an email over to Pagan at members@retroreplayshow.com. I mean, it's Pagan and Drew, but she's the one that likes to do that plug. I'm making sure I get it in here for her. And then, of course, if you have any questions for us here at the podcast, you can reach us at thereplayerpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Erica and Jake, for joining us this week.
Thank you.
That's going to be game over, folks.
Game over.
Game over.
Welcome to the Retro Replayer Podcast. I almost just said Retro Replay Podcast.
It happens.
I'm your host, Erica, Discount Pagan.